Today we are going to talk about how to learn things first. In today's world, we are bombarded with different kind of ideas, whether through WhatsApp, Facebook, we are on information highway, and even if you want, you can't avoid different kind of ideas hitting you every day, every moment. And we tend wanting to learn new things, but the time is very short for most of us. We want to learn it first as well. So how to learn things very, very fast? First, you have to be sure that you want to learn something. Ask yourself why you want to learn, what you want to do with it. If you are convinced that you want to learn, then start. Number two, once you are sure that you want to learn it, disaggregate the entire components of learning of that particular subject. Know the things to be learned. Suppose if you want to learn cricket, then you have to know about stance, you have to know about the grip of the bat, you have to know about how to face the ball, the rule of the game. All these things are required. So you have to part by part know what are the things to be learned. Then you have to segregate those parts and figure out which of these parts you are really interested in. The interesting thing about learning is there's an 80-20 rules. Suppose you want to learn one subject, it doesn't mean you have to learn 100% of it. If you learn 20% of it, you can be a local star of that subject. But if you really want to be an excellent person of knowledge of particular that subject, then the rest 80% knowledge have to be acquired in order to get that final 20% of the learning. It's very difficult to achieve 100%, but for the sake of, say, someone, if someone as great as Sachin Tendulkar in cricket, they are very close to being 100% of knowledgeable of the game. So to become Tendulkar, those 80%, last 80% effort is needed to get the last 20% result. But for average players, if you want to just be a local hero in your cricket and you want to hit six, then initial 20% is good enough for you. For any subject, this is it. As number three, you have to eradicate all the barriers of learning. If you want to learn something, then you have to be giving them a dedicated time. Unless you pay for, you are not going to get anything. So to learn, you have to pay, and that payment may not be through money that you commonly associate payment with. It can be your dedication, it can be your hard work, it can be the time that you are going to devote. But you have to pay, and you have to be ready to pay if you want to learn. So pay a distraction-free time, preferably in the first thing in the morning and also the last thing in the night. Because once you leave your brain at rest, right before sleep, if you are learning something, your subconscious mind go on capitulating on the small things that you have acquired within the awake time. So it is always better to learn, practice something right before the sleep, and then just go to sleep, because you might be sleeping but your mind is working. So that makes a subconscious learning very easier. And the first thing in the morning, if you are starting with the same thing, it becomes rather easier for you to kind of relate and excel very quickly. Fourth is keep that the things which are needed to be learned, the components of that learning, very close to you, very much accessible, visually connected. Suppose you want to learn guitar. If you keep it in some almirah and locked up, it's not going. You are not going to find the inspiration to pick it up whenever you are needing to. Rather, you keep it in front of you. Maybe you are hanging it from the wall so that you can just reach out anytime you want. Keeping it in front of you, keep the thing in the mind as well. And even if you are not playing the guitar, your mind is subconsciously simulating the act of playing. Therefore, there is a subconscious learning going on. So keep it reachable and visually connected. And finally, practice maximum perfect. Once you start the journey, which is the most difficult part of any learning, once you start, you must carry it on for another 30, 40 days. I'm not asking you to give a lot of time, say 5 hours, 6 hours dedicated learning. It's not needed. You keep it in a 20, 30 minutes slots twice a day. That much time one can devote to learn a new thing, whether it's a new language or a new work or a play, anything. You have to give that dedicated time to it, and you will be amazed that after a month of practice and a month of continuation of this learning process, how interesting your life is as you feel satisfied to have learned something. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you back in this channel.